Alright guys, this is a big one nobody is talking about, and oddly enough this is the Bundy Ranch scenario involving Native Americans. Basically there's a pipeline going through their land. They didn't want it there because it would poison their water. They've gotten the Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota tribes together to shut it down. They blocked all the roads. It's been happening for a better part of a month. Police report guns, pipe bombs, anything you can name basically, and they've called in armed feds to attempt to do what happened at the Bundys. And even the feds are saying this scenario is getting to a point where they're afraid they're really going to start getting shot. It's all over the internet. Now, I doubt it's that bad. I think these guys are just basically protesting and how the Bundy situation got out of hand in the 1A areas. I think that's exactly what this is. And, you know, the reports are their insiders saying, oh, we see guns, we see pipe bombs, we see this, we see that. So their first thing is to call in a bunch of, weekend warriors in SWAT gear to come in and try to handle the natives. Well, that didn't work out so well for the 1800s and 1700s U.S. Army. I highly doubt it's going to work on the 2016 U.S. federal government, but more power to them. This is a big deal. There's a lot on this, and to be very honest, I think that this has a lot to do with a lot more than just what's being reported, but I'm just going to show you what's there because that's what I'm here to do. Now, this is the Sioux Nation basically coming together. Last time they were together, there was a big conflict, and there were people who were killed. And basically, people are saying this is like Bundy Ranch. Only difference is, and look at how many people there are for miles. Look at this. There are people coming in with their cars. There's lots of things going on here. American Indians stand together to shut down pipeline project. Indigenous activists are protesting an oil pipeline that could destroy the reservation's only water supply. This is one of the Sioux Nations, and this is involving the Lakota, Dakota, and I believe Nakota tribes. And as they'll say in the video, they haven't banded together since about 1862 when all hell hit the fan.
These American Indians want to shut down a new oil pipeline.
The last time the 7 bands of the Lakota, Dakota, Nakota Nation stood together was at the Battle of the Greasy Grass, June 25th, 1876. So this is historic that they answered that call.
We're outside of Cannonball, North Dakota at a Dakota Access pipeline construction site, but there's not any work going on here because protesters have halted the construction.
Local law enforcement cited safety concerns.
We have had incidents and reports of weapons, of pipe bombs, of some shots fired.
When we
So
say
already
loading
saying
our
shots
pipes,
fired.
that's our chanupa. That's a sacred object that we carry to communicate with everything within creation. It's not a weapon.
The $3.8 billion pipeline is supposed to run from oil fields in
Well, I'm sorry. Let me do this one a little bit more.
North Dakota to Illinois. It doesn't quite cross through the Standing Rock Reservation, but it will cross the Missouri River less than a mile from the reservation.
None of our water comes from anywhere else. It's just all from the Missouri River. It's overwhelming, and like I said, we're scared. It's threatening not just us, but like I said, our future generation.
All right, let me play this one more time for you.
Down a new oil pipeline.
The last time the 7 bands of the Lakota, Dakota, Nakota Nation stood together was at the Battle of the Greasy Grass, June 25th, 1876. So this is historic that they answered that call.
We're outside of Cannonball, North Dakota at a Dakota Access pipeline construction site, but there's not any work going on here because protesters have halted the construction.
Local law enforcement cited safety concerns.
We have had incidents and reports of weapons, of pipe bombs, of some shots fired.
So not only are they basically saying that there are safety concerns, but reports are of weapons, guns, no doubt they cited it as guns and not weapons, pipe bombs and more, and they've even said that shots have been fired. Who knows what the real situation is? You get a couple guys drunk, no matter who it is, and, if they're out, on their own property and, they're shooting tin cans a mile away, they'll take it as these protesters doing this, and they'll amp up the situation anyways. But I wanted to show you this because the feds are coming in to stop this, and it's going to end up like a Bundy Ranch scenario. And that's the big deal, that I don't want to see these guys getting into an armed conflict with the feds. However, if it needs to be, it needs to be. They need to learn, stand the fuck down. And sooner or later, that will happen. You can only get ordered to do government duty so much before you're told, hey, guys, stand down. This ain't worth our lives. This isn't worth the lives of this pipeline going through. So anyways, I'm not going to go through everything. You've already heard it. Like Keystone, the pipeline going through, they're talking about DAPL, which is this pipeline and everything. Okay, so here's the big deal, folks. Here's what they're not telling you. These guys legally have territorial and treaty rights to this land. I don't know if it goes through any of that, but the general idea is these guys have rights to the land. These DAPL people that want to put in this pipeline do not have those rights. I'm just going to give you all these sources and everything, and I've read through them. It says they've already sent a notice to the United Nations. They're waiting on an understanding. Here it is right here. Even while standing in Rock Sioux appeal awaits reaction from the UN. So Standing Rock Sioux, so that's what their whole tribe is called together. They're awaiting a reaction from the United Nations on DAPL and their protest. And they are calling it protest and direct action. So, and it says here that there's increasing hostility from government agencies. And listen to this, folks. I want to show you this because this needs to be understood. This is pretty much a colonial state where the Red Sioux, where the Standing Rock Sioux are, that have legal standing, folks. They have legal standing in this territory. The United States government does not generally have standing in the reservations and stuff. They have their own police, they have their own people. In fact, the federal government, for the most part, is not even supposed to be on this land. I mean, this could be a big frickin' deal. And the reason these guys are having such a problem is because they believe that those laws that were set in place 200 years ago don't matter anymore. And the pipeline's being put through by Dakota Access LLP via DAPL. And these Native Americans, folks, have legal rights to that land, probably more so than the federal government does. And if you know anything about native land and how it's actually allocated, unless the feds want to do some really shady stuff, generally, they're not even supposed to trespass on this land. I mean, this is supposed to be like colonial territory. This is supposed to be like wild, wild west stuff. I'm forgetting the exact words, but there is a totally different jurisdiction here. And there are executive orders in place and everything, but these people here, the Lakota, the Dakota, making up the Standing Rock Sioux in this area, ladies and gentlemen, have the right and the rights, the environmental rights, I should say, to be on premise and to say we don't want this near our home. And the very fact that they're showing up and that the feds are showing up and basically doing really bad stuff. What did I say they said? They said the feds were insinuating violence, did I say? It was something like that. I'm not trying to say the feds are all bad, but we've all seen WACO, we've all seen Bundy Ranch, we've all seen their tactics. And ladies and gentlemen, the DAPL does cross recognized treaty land held by the Native Americans and the Native American nations. This is a legal reality. This has nothing to do with anything else. If these men truly trespass and try to do this, there could easily be a big frickin' problem. These men and these women were given this land a long time ago. And it says here that this DAPL, which is the oil pipeline company, does cross the recognized treaty land held by the Native American nations, by the Standing Rock Sioux tribe. And it's held together by an International Indian Treaty Council, and they have already protested this before the United Nations. This is a big deal, folks. The federal government has almost no absolute jurisdiction here. I mean, we all know what the feds are going to do when shit hits the fan. But reality-wise, these people have these rights to be there. They have more environmental rights and everything else. And I don't even know how much of a legal situation they, said, okay, well, if DAPL goes through your land, we'll give you, 10, 15% of the profit rights. I don't know what the numbers were or if they even bothered. But this is the situation here, and they're basically analyzing this with the idea that there's still ongoing colonization. So in other words, the feds probably think they still have to go in and do what the, what the Army did way back when, 200 years ago, and recolonize these guys, so to speak. I'm trying to find the part here where they say that the feds were being unnerving or whatever the quote was. I'm not even trying to, harp on law enforcement or anything, but when these guys were given this land, folks, and I know somebody who is Lakota, these guys were given this land with the understanding the United States government basically does not trespass under any major reason. And I'm trying to figure this out right here. I mean, I showed it to you a minute ago. So this is the situation, and according to these guys here, okay, so they are being investigated. There's surveillance and other corrosive tactics. Okay, so, oops, shit, no, crap. Okay, so this part right here, sorry, hang on, guys. I apologize. So, this week the FBI, you gotta be kidding me. I apologize, hang on, guys. They're doing crazy stuff to me. There we go. So this week, basically, the FBI began investigating the incident. They saw a laser pointer being aimed at a surveillance aircraft. No charges have been filed, and various things of that nature. Various things like that. And according to this, if you remember me reading it, and I'm trying not to ramble, and I know I'm probably going on further than you want to hear, but basically, these guys are basically doing a whole bunch of shit. And, these guys are going, hey, that's not necessary for you to fly your drone over and find out how many men we have so you can go in with 400 guys. That is illegal and unlawful. So they're doing like laser pointers and police report guns, pipe bombs, more, and basically the feds are getting ready to round up the Indians again. I guarantee you, folks, these guys are ready to die for their property. We didn't see it at Bundy Ranch. But I guarantee you, if shots have already been fired, which they said that they have been, let's be honest, a couple good old boys probably have taken a couple pot shots. I'm not going to be here to tell you that is absolutely preposterous. If you were given a sanctioned treaty by the U.S. government 100 or 200 or 300 years ago, that treaty is as good as today as it was back then. Your environmental rights are still intact. If these guys want to round up the Indians again, then it's time to play some cowboys and Indians. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I don't see it getting to that point, but I think that the feds are going to be there to shut this down before the UN situation gets done. And I guarantee you, quite soon, we're going to see armed feds on the ground like in WACO and in Bundy Ranch. And these guys are not going to be intimidated. This is not federal property. This is in no way any jurisdiction related to any of this. I mean, if shots were to go off on property, folks, this would not be the same as you defending your home or anything else. This is almost as if, from what I understand, if they went by the original law, which we all know they won't, this is almost as if, I'm trying to get to the point where I can change this. This is almost as if they can actually, you know, it's the native land right now, the way it's supposed to be on the books is to where the U.S. federal government has almost no jurisdiction on the land. And if the feds have been harassed, if these guys have been harassing them and other things, you know, if they've already heard shots downrange and stuff, it could just be hearsay. It could be a lot more. I mean, it is what it is. But to be honest, I don't know, folks. I got to be honest, and if the feds show up like Bundy Ranch, these guys are probably going to defend themselves. I mean, we're talking about a bunch of, you know, senior citizen age guys whose families have been promised this land, and this oil pipeline is going to do nothing but ruin this for future generations. And I don't think that UN report is going to come out in time. So it'll be interesting to see, but armed feds have basically are starting to encircle them and attempt to stop this. And I don't see it happening. I don't see a bloodbath, but I definitely see this dragging out for a lot more months. Thank you. But hey, if shots have already been fired according to what the police reports have said, if they've seen guns and pipe bombs and other things of that nature, weapons of all sorts of different sizes and shapes, etc., even their sticks can be considered weapons of one sort or another. You know, a stick off the ground can be just as harmful to a person as if you're hit with a gun, depending on what kind of wood it is, how brittle your bones are, etc. But if these guys decide to do this, and those federal agents fire shots on reservation land, that is almost as if the U.S. government decided to invade another country. I mean, the laws of which they used to be basically said you could disappear onto reservation property and the native land thereof, and the feds and others could not pursue you because it was basically uncolonized territory given to the natives. So this will be very interesting to see, folks, especially if some cowboy and Indian stuff goes down. Very interesting. I'm certain if they're pointing lasers at the drones and stuff in the air, I guarantee you know, there have been a couple of yeehaws and, you know, some shotgun shells going in the air and stuff. You know, yip, 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 and everything. I'm certain. Even if it's just good old boys, you know, by the campfire at night going, you know, what are we going to do tomorrow? I don't know, man. But it is what it is, folks. Thank you.